a famous British journalist, went on a press investigation to reveal the truth about Muslims, then found out that Islam is the greatest gift from God.
أن تخرج من ضيق الظلماء إلى النور، أن تولد ثانية والماضي مغفور، لحظة أن تشعر بالله في قلبك يقذف بهدى، هذا ما لا يدركه وصف وشعور. يا الله إني ناديتك وسعيت، إني استهديتك فهديت، بالقرآن أنرت طريقي. يا الله يا الله.
My name is Yvonne Ridley. I work as a journalist and an author, and I embraced Islam in July 2003. Ever since I can remember, I've always had a belief in God, and I was a practicing Christian. I went to church maybe twice a month, which in secular Britain is bordering on fanaticism.
حدثينا عن مسيرتك الصحفية، أين كنت تعملين والآن ماذا تعملين؟
Well, because my story made headlines around the world, I had to reinvent myself as a journalist. I had been an investigative undercover reporter. I then focused more on humanitarian stories, and it was difficult for a journalist wearing a hijab to get a job on mainstream media. So I decided to form my own television production company, and we made films. We went into Guantanamo and we won an award for that documentary. And I work for several Middle East magazines and online publications. And I'm also taking a PhD as well. When I went into Afghanistan, I was the chief reporter of the Sunday Express. And so I sneaked into the country wearing the all-enveloping blue burqa. I was on a donkey, and the donkey had bolted, and I fell off the donkey, and it had created quite a distraction in this crowded area. And just before I fell off the donkey, I'd leaned forward to try and rein this animal in. It was just running out of control. And the one piece of equipment that I had taken into Afghanistan, a camera, fell out of the folds of my burqa, right into the passing view of a Taliban soldier. He saw this. I was held for 10 days, first in Jalalabad and then in Kabul. It was a terrifying experience, but it also gave me an insight into Islam. And I realized that as a journalist, I couldn't write with any authority about affairs in the Middle East or Asia or anywhere in the Muslim world without knowing more about Islam. And during those 10 days, I didn't think I would get out alive. But during one day, an imam came to visit me, and he invited me to embrace Islam. And I said to him I couldn't make such a life-changing decision while I was in prison, but if he let me go, I would read about Islam, I would study the Holy Quran. I would have promised anything just to get out of this prison. And he smiled and got up and left, and then I was told, "You're going home."
لا تحتقر فعل بسيط تفعله مع من حولك أو حتى لو كلمة بسيطة. النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يقول إن الرجل يتكلم بالكلمة من رضوان الله لا يلقي لها بال يرفعه الله سبحانه وتعالى بها الدرجات العليا في الجنة. يعني باختصار ممكن كلنا نكون دعاة إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى.
I've been in several different prisons throughout the world as an observer. I've been in American prisons. In this mosque, his recital of the Quran was so pure.
هناك لحظة فاصلة في حياتك، هي اللحظة التي قال لك الرجل المسلم: الآن أنت حرة واذهبي إلى المنزل. كيف كانت ردة فعلك؟
I was in prison in Kabul when I was told, tomorrow you will go home, inshallah. And I said, what is this inshallah you put on the end of every sentence, because it never happens. And of course, I now know, God willing. And the next day, even though the war had already started and Britain and America had unleashed all of these bombs on the capital, they were as good as their word, and they took me back to the Pakistan border, and I crossed over. When I did get home, some days later, I thought about the whole experience, and I thought, you made a promise, you should really try and keep it, even if it was under duress. Before I even picked up the Quran, I believed that Islam promoted violence, the subjugation and oppression of women. I thought that it was a barbaric, primitive faith. So I started reading the Quran, and I was amazed by what I was reading, because all the great prophets in the Bible were in the Holy Quran.
إني ناديتك وسعيت إني استهديتك فهديت بالقرآن أنرت طريقي يا الله
يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. هذه الآيات عرفتك على أخلاق الإسلام. هل كنت مغيبة عن حقيقة الإسلام؟
This particular ayat really touched me in my heart, because the theme of justice, as I said before, runs through every page, but this makes it crystal clear that the Quran, far from being a book of hatred, as our enemies will say, is one of peace, one of justice, one that promotes harmony.
وكنت اسمع حكي عنا مقامه فوق ما يحكون ياخذ بيدي للجنة ويشرق من ضياه الكون أرتل فيه واتغنى وكل مرة يفيض الشون كتاب الله وما غيره.
ما شاء الله قرأت القرآن ودرست عن الإسلام تقريباً لمدة 30 شهر. حدثينا عن هذه الرحلة.
You know, women's rights are very close to my heart, and so I went and looked down the index for all the issues on women, all the ideas that we have in the West about forced marriage, how to beat your wife, how to stop your daughters from being educated. Of course, I found nothing like that in the Quran, but what the Quran makes crystal clear is that women are equal in spirituality, worth and education. And this was a huge surprise to me. So all the rights that were given to women in the pages of the Holy Quran, available for the last 1400 years, have actually only come in the last 100 years, to Western women. There was a little bit of turmoil in my life at the time, just before I took the Shahada. I had decided to leave London working as a journalist, and I had been offered a job in Doha for a very famous TV station there. And I just thought that this new change in my life coincided with my journey to Islam, and what better way to start a new job in the Muslim world than by embracing Islam. And so the day before I left for the Gulf, I embraced Islam and joined what I often tell people is the biggest and the best family in the world. The most significant piece of writing for me was the farewell message from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And nobody, from the most raging Islamophobe to the most hardened atheist, could look at that speech and disagree with a single word. It makes it perfectly clear that we are all equal, regardless of gender, skin colour, culture, background. Every one of us is equal. And that farewell message, when people say to me, I have a friend who wants to convert, or I've got a friend who's interested, what should I show them? I always say, go to the end first, and that is show the farewell message as an introduction to Islam, because it is perfect. When I took my Shahada, I decided it was really a very private moment, a moment between me and Allah. And so I didn't want a big fuss, and I just took it at home in London with less than a handful of people who had helped and supported me on my journey to Islam.
بعد أن دخلتي في الإسلام ونطقتي في الشهادة، كيف كانت ردة فعل أهلك وأصحابك والمقربين منك؟
My family reacted in different ways. One sister was quite supportive. One sadly doesn't speak to me right till this day. My late father was very much against the idea until I came home one day with a copy of the farewell speech. And he read it and he had tears in his eyes. And it is my big regret that I didn't follow that through and try and convert him to Islam. And my mother, her reaction to my conversion, she started going to church again. And I said, this is great, you know, get some spirituality back in your life. There's not that much difference between Muslims and Christianity. And I said, you know, Christianity is a great springboard to Islam. And she said, I don't want anything to do with your newfangled Arab religion. And I said, where do you think Jesus comes from? Manchester? And for the first time in her life, she realized that the roots of Christianity, Judaism and Islam are all in the Middle East. And she's still a Christian, but I'm hoping, you know, pray for me that I can get her to see the light. In Europe, the moment a woman steps out of her house wearing the hijab, she is immediately identified as a Muslim woman. She's immediately, whether she wants to or not, propelled into the front lines, short sword fighting for her faith, because everybody becomes your judge. And I tell Muslim women, you know, when we go about our business, try and do it with a smile. Don't kick a cat, don't throw rubbish on the ground, don't do anything negative, because people will look at us and they won't say, oh, that woman has just thrown some litter in the street. They'll say, did you see what that Muslim did? and we're immediately identified by our faith.
سبحان الله، ذهبت لتغطية صحفية ضد الإسلام ومعاداة للإسلام، وبهذه التغطية هداها الله سبحانه وتعالى إلى الإسلام. إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء وهو أعلم بالمهتدين.
في كتاب الله قلبي صار حي، وبحياتي صار لي ظل وفاي، ويوم عادت نفسي وروحي إليه عادت أيامي وأحلامي إلهي. كل ما أتلوه أو جيت أسمعه أنسى آلامي وأحزاني معاه، من عرفته صارت أيامي هنا، نور في الظلمة في الضيقة سعة. كل ما أتلوه أو جيت أسمعه أنسى آلامي وأحزاني معاه، من عرفته صارت أيامي هنا، نور